Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. This is part 5 in my Alien Baby series, and in this video we're going to continue to start adding more detail to the cow toy and the hands and feet and the pajamas. If you want to follow along traditionally, check out part 1 in this series where I have a list of all the paint and the brushes and the canvases that I use. The app that I'm using is Infinite Painter for Android, and here we're going to be trying to continue to refine the pajamas and the little cow toy. And so I want to go ahead and sort of smooth things out. And I'm working a little bit on the head shape. I decided that I needed to work on that just a little bit more. The head is mostly where I want it to be, but I was doing a little bit of some tweaking to it. And then here I'm trying to work on the hands and try to get the shape of the fingers, and I'm doing that by using the background color of the cow plushie and then some of the darker gray color for the hands. And as I've mentioned in the previous videos, he only has 3 fingers and 1 thumb, and then he has 3 toes. So that shows that he's a little alien baby. So, but the hands are still pretty humanoid in shape. So I'm trying to just get the shape by using a darker color of gray and using the highlight, the light greenish color of highlight for the highlights on the hands. And so here I'm working on the shape of the thumb on the left side and trying to get the shape of the hand as it curves around on the cow plushie toy. And so you have to just kind of add some darks and lights to that to try to get the shape, the correct shape there, and try to make it look like it's 3-dimensional. And then I'm working on the other hand and just going back and forth, adding light and dark and light and dark on these, and that's how you have to do it, is just go back and forth till you get the correct shape that you want here. And so I'm working on that, and the thumb was giving me a little bit of trouble because it's kind of it's humanoid, not human looking. It's humanoid looking, but it's not human per se. So it's alien looking, and I was trying to get that look and trying to get the shadows right next to it to make the thumb come out and look correct there. So I was adding some of the purplish shadow color next to the cow plushie toy and just trying to get a look going there. And so I was working on adding the highlight along the edge there. And again, he's a plastic baby doll, and his fingers don't move. His fingers and hands don't move. His arms and legs move a little. His head turns from side to side, but so you can't move his fingers, but they're molded in a curved shape so that it looks like he can hold things. So that's what I was trying to get, that look there. And so I was using the background colors of the cow toy to get the shape of his hand, and you just have to work at it till you get it. This is the drudge part of painting, is trying to get the shape. If you can't get it right the first time, you just have to keep working at it till you get it. Just going back and forth, adding the background, adding highlight, adding shadow, just trying to get the overall shape of his hand and a little bit of his arm sticking out of the pajama sleeves, and so that's what I was trying to do, just trying to get that look, and also trying to get the correct shape of the cow plushie as he's holding it. So it has an arm or a leg that comes down, and he is holding that. So I was trying to show that, and so I just had to keep working at it and keep adding those colors and light blues or light green, light purples, and the off-color white. Here I'm working on the sleeve again of the pajamas, and you want to blend in the edges of the wrinkles. And one of the ways that you make wrinkles is you can put a dark line next to a light colored line, and then you just kind of blend them in and make them uh, look soft edged, and that helps you make it look like it's a cloth and a wrinkle in the cloth. And that's kind of one of the secrets to making uh, clothes and cloth and stuff look good. And so here I decided to work a little bit more on his head, just kind of tweak that. Um, Trying to work on his hand. I've kind of got the shape maybe going pretty good on the right side of his hand. So I kind of need to just leave that one alone. That's one of the things you have to learn to do when you're painting, is when you got things looking pretty good, just leave that part alone and don't mess with it. So here I'm shrinking it down to get kind of an idea of what it looks like, and this is what you would do when you're painting. Traditionally, you would step back from the canvas and look at it, and so that's what I'm doing there, just trying to get an idea of how it looks. And then I want to go ahead and start doing some more detail on the pajamas. Still need more detail. I need to work on the spots, try to get those better, and try to get the cow plushie a little bit more refined. So that's what I was doing, working on that, working on the hands. Here I'm trying to get the hands just a little bit better. Wanted to add a little bit more shadow to the right hand, or the right side, and add a little bit more to the gray to the other side to sort of make that match. And then I wanted to go ahead and work a little bit more on the spots of his pajamas. I was trying to get those correct, and trying to get the look of fabric, so you don't make your black spots completely black. As you can see in the photo reference, that it's kind of um, got a gray look to it. It's not a total black look, and you kind of want to make sure that you add that to it, that there's variations in the black color of the spots there, because that just helps um, give it more of a dimensional look there. You just want to kind of do that, and because otherwise it will look flat. So is what I'm trying to say here. You want to be careful with black patterns like that and things like that, because it can flatten out your subject. So you have to add variations of color within them, and you have to also work on the shapes of them and make sure that they follow the contours of the body. And then here I'm working a little bit more on the feet, trying to get his toes to look more three-dimensional, and also to add his leg. You can see a little bit of his leg sticking out on the left side there, and I wanted to add a little bit of some shadow there and under the heel and the toes, and you want to make sure that you smudge these out. You don't want to leave them as a line because you're trying to uh, make it look realistic instead of more of a drawing. And so I'm adding a little bit more dark purple to the edges of the toes, trying to get that look, trying to show that there's indentations under the toes and the curve of the foot there, and just keep smudging that out, and then working a little bit on the shadow around it so that you can see the shape of his toes there. And then here I wanted to add a little bit more of the stars back to the background because I had smudged those out in order to correct the shape of the foot. And then here I'm working a little bit more on the shape of the cloth. And since I have it on a separate layer, I can go ahead and keep the stars there and erase out some of the cloth there. If you're doing this traditionally, you would have to just kind of paint over it with the background color. But make sure that you do everything on layers when you're doing this digitally, and you can do little things like that. So here I'm working on the foot again, trying to get the toes, trying to get them rounded looking, and because that's one of the features of him is that he only has 3 toes and stuff. So you want to show that because that's part of the alienness and the cute thing is his cute little feet with only 3 toes. And so I'm just working on that, trying to get that to look correct, trying to get that foot to look like it's 3-dimensional and have the correct shape. And so I've added a little bit of the purple and around the edges of the toes, and I make sure that I smudge it in and just keep doing that till you get the shape that you want. This is sort of just like doing a portrait, only you're doing a portrait of an alien baby, but it is that level of detail work. And so you just have to keep at it. And I'm adding sort of the final highlight here for the foot. And you can add the light gray color. That's what I want to have there. And this is where you zoom in really close and you start cleaning up the edges on the pajamas. And I just want to try to get it more refined. And so I'm working a little bit more on the fingers again. This one I had a lot of trouble with on that hand because it, I don't know, it just, the thumb looked more alien, I guess, and so it was kind of hard to show that it was actually a thumb there on that one side. And so I was working on it and trying to get it right, and you just have to keep coming back to it. You can work on something and then till you just get really tired of it, and then go on and do something else. Work on something else that you can get done there. And here I'm working on the edge of the pajama leg, trying to get the final highlight and the final shape of the pajama legs here. And they're sort of folded over on the right side, and so that kind of makes it tricky to do there. I'm trying to get that fold, and that's the perils of doing still life, is that sometimes you have less than optimal folds that you've done in your clothes, and you've already started it, and so you don't want to go back and do it. And even when you're doing it from real life, in real time, you're doing a still life, you can't go back and change it because it changes the shadows on everything else. So you're just kind of stuck with how you do something and how you've got it arranged, and you just have to keep it that way. Otherwise, it doesn't work out too well. We actually were trying to do a still life in art class one time, and another student came in and changed all the lights on it, and and so it kind of messed up our picture, and I just kind of had to go with what I had before and just kind of finish it out. So you can't really change it in midstream. You just kind of try to make the best with what you got there and make it work. You can correct it a little, but anyway, so that's what I was doing, just trying to fix the folds on the pajama leg there. And so I went ahead and added some of the close to final highlights on the pajamas, and then added in some of the dark colors as the shadows to try to refine all that. And so I'm just kind of working on that, and I will have to smudge all this in. I don't want it to look like that, look unfinished. I mean, that is a style that some people use for painting, and that's good if that's the way you want that painting. I like that sketchy looking style too, but this is not what I was going for in this painting. So you have to go back and smudge it in, and you can use the filbert brush or something on Infinite Painter, and you just want to kind of smudge and blend them in. And if you're following along traditionally, you would use your finger, or you could use a paper towel. And if you're doing acrylics, you want to do it right then, right after you lay the stroke down, because it dries fast. There are some acrylics that dry a little bit slower, but I prefer to have acrylics that dry fast traditionally, because that's the way I've learned them. So, but people that are used to oil painting, they sort of struggle with this, and so you just have to learn a different way of blending. You have to learn to dry blend, which is to use a lot less paint and just kind of smudge it in right then when you put the stroke down. And so here I'm just kind of working on the shape again of the spots and trying to get the folds right there next to his foot. And one of the things that's tricky also is it's not only just a fold, but there's some spots there, so that makes it look really dark there. And so I'm trying to add a little bit of the blacker look there, the dark gray. It's not totally black, but a really dark gray. And this is sort of an instruction in tones, because something might look really white up against a dark color or a off-white color, but it is not truly just pure white. You can do lots of different ranges and tones without doing pure white. When you hit pure white, then you can't go up, you can't add a brighter highlight. So you want to try to do these ranges in between the pure white and a darker color, and it's a good exercise in tone. And if you want to do that, you do a black and white painting. That really helps you understand tones. And so this is the end of part 5 of my Alien Baby series, and in part 6 we're going to finish it up and call it good. So if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button, and thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you later.